What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today, because you smashed the pure zombie profile way above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, I thought I'd bring you an update to Vendreads. Now Vendreads are a TCG exclusive, or were technically a TCG exclusive, that combined the themes of Spawn and Resident Evil together to make this insanely cool archetype. Now, unfortunately, it is more of a casual style deck in my opinion, because the way that it revolves around ritual summoning, the kind of bar was set off of the back of Necros of how good ritual summoning mechanics and decks should have been. The deck is still really kind of cool. The artwork is absolutely amazing. I've put this deck together as more of a casual version, something that a fan of zombies would want to be putting together to play at a casual environment rather than trying to take on the meta of Malices and Ryzils and everything else in between. However, there are some very niche interactions within inside the deck that can be very good in those particular type of matchups. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Starting off with the starter of the Vendreads themselves, or like the first main protagonist, is of course the Vendread Slayer. Now the whole deck kind of revolves around this. You get a little bit of additional effects depending on the name of the particular card, which is why you want to be utilizing this card. So this is basically Spawn is what the idea is. This is the main card that you want to be working off the back of in the whole lore and the theme and everything else. So for those of you unfamiliar with how the Vendreads work, is their main deck effect monsters give additional effects to the ritual monsters. So themselves aren't absolutely amazing, but when you start utilizing them as the ritual fodder, they start to get additional effects. So for starters, this one has a once per battle, if it battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you get a quick effect to banish a zombie monster from the graveyard. It gains 300 attack. If this ritual summon card is sent to the graveyard, you get to add a ritual spell from the deck to the hand, and if you do, you send a Vendread monster from the deck to the grave. The best thing about this is because they're zombies, you can actually ritual summon them back from the graveyard, which is really kind of cool. And then we've got two of the Battle Lord. So this one is, you can ritual summon it with any Vendread ritual spell. You banish a Vendread card from the graveyard and declare one type, monster, spell, or trap. For the rest of this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects of that type, and if this ritual summon card is sent to the graveyard, you get to add a ritual monster from the deck to the hand, and if you do, you send a Vendread from the deck to the graveyard. And then we've got the one Executioner. So you can ritual summon this card with Vendread Ritual Spell, and then this card's name becomes Vendread Slayer while on the field. So it gives you, the one kind of big loop on that one, is the Vendread Origin lets you protect your Vendread Slayer from being destroyed by battle or card effect. So because this becomes Vendread Slayer, you can actually protect it as well. And you can see from the artwork, this is basically going to upgrade off of the back of the Slayer. So it's like Slayer gets a bit more power and goes into this. So when this ritual summon card is on the field, or while this ritual summon card is on the field, your opponent cannot target cards you control with card effects except this card. And then if this ritual summon card is destroyed by battle or is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, while it is in the monster zone, you get to add a Vendread card from the deck to the hand. So you can see that obviously it gets a bit of an upgrade when it's sent, but the idea is that you kind of want to be protecting this. This is your go all out protector. There are a couple of other ritual monsters. You've got Chimera, which can be quite useful in the particular style of deck, just because we are utilizing the brand new Delta. But the idea is Delta just spawns a level 5 zombie token, which means Chimera is a lot bit easier to get hold of. And Chimera gives you that ability to protect from destruction effects, which can be quite good in the Ryzil matchup. Honestly, I feel that the 5 is more than enough. There is another Vendread ritual monster that came out in Power of the Elements called Vendread Scavenger, but honestly I don't own a copy of it. You probably could play it in if you wanted to. I felt it's more of an aggressive option, it's more for going second, and I kind of felt that these were the 5 that at the base minimum you want to be playing, and then everything else from that point on in regards to the rituals you adapt as you see fit. And then for the Vendread main deck effect monsters, you've got the Revenants, you've got the Hound, you've got Scar, Nemesis basically, you've got Anima, you've got Sturges, and then of course you've got Core. Now all of these grant additional effects to the Vendread ritual monster that they make, apart from Scar. Scar is probably the best one in my opinion, just for the pure fact of how easy it is to actually get it to the board and its level. You'll see that all the other levels are like 1s, 2s, 3s and 4s. With Scar, is if it is sent to the graveyard, you get to add a Vendread spell or trap from the deck to the hand. If a monster or monsters on the field is tributed while this card is in the graveyard, except during damage state, you banish another zombie monster from the grave to special on this card. And if you do, while it is face up in the monster zone, you can't special on monsters except Vendread, so you just use it as free tribute fodder. But the idea is it can float itself back. It's a level 6 for the ritual summon requirements because all of your ritual monsters are level 6 or higher. And then when you look at all of the other, flick that out of the way, all of the other Vendread monsters, they all have the ability to bring themselves back from the graveyard. So if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card by battle or effect, and sent to the graveyard, you get to special on this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. A Vendread monster ritual summoned using this card on the field as material gains the following effect, that it gains a quick effect to target a special on a monster your opponent controls and banishes it. The Hound is if it is in the graveyard, you discard a Vendread card to special summon it, but again, banish it when it leaves the field. And then the ritual monster that uses this as material gains the following effect of a quick effect to target a spell track your opponent controls and banishes it. Core, if this card is in the graveyard, you banish another zombie monster from the graveyard to special summon it, and again, banish it when it leaves the field. The ritual monster will gain the ability that it can't be targeted with card effects. Your Anima, you banish this card from the graveyard to target one of your banished Vendread except itself, and then special summon it. And then the ritual monster gains the following effect of banish any monster destroyed by battle with this card. And then the Stridges, so if it's sent to the graveyard, you reveal a Vendread card in your hand and special summon it. And then after damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you get to draw one card and discard one card, which is the inherited effect that it gives the ritual monsters. So you can't see these are all like the smaller ones that give the additional effects to the rituals, and then Scar is just the monster that lets itself float back to the board, which is really important. And then for the Vendread or the Revendread ritual spells, you've got triple Origin, double Evolution, and double Ravenous. Now what I love about all of these is they all came out in the corresponding sets, and what I mean by that is the Revendread Origin came out with Slayer, the Evolution came out with the Battle Guard, which is where you can see Slayer versus the Battle Guard on the artwork, and then the Ravenous Vendread came out in Power of the Elements, which was the same one as the Vendread Scavenger, which is the guy at the back, which is obviously Nemesis, like third form, or second form, I believe. And then the idea is just like battles over the cityscape, which the artworks are very nice. So the Origin, it gets you ritual summon. All of these can ritual summon any Vendread monster, but this one lets you ritual summon monsters from the hand or grave. You also tribute monsters from the hand or field and or banish zombie monsters from the graveyard whose total levels equal or exceed. And then if Revendread Slayer or Slayers, specifically you control, would be destroyed by battle card effect, you banish this instead. This one lets you ritual summon from the hand or grave again, but you must also tribute monsters from the hand or field or send a Vendread monster from the deck to the grave in order to do that ritual summon, but it is destroyed during the next end phase. So it's one of the ones that you either want to tribute it off so it doesn't get destroyed, or if it does get destroyed, you'll get the effects. And then the Vendread Ravenous lets you special summon a Vendread monster from the hand, deck, or graveyard in face down defense position except itself, and then you apply the following effects. Now the one big thing to remember about this is it doesn't do it ignoring summoning conditions. So you can't summon a ritual from the deck or the hand. You can summon one back from the grave if you have successfully ritual summoned it previously. If you have done that, you can bring it back in face down defense, and that's when you're going to get the higher levels, which is why Scar is so good, because it's an effect monster, not a ritual monster, so you can get this from deck, hand, or grave. And it's a level 6, which is what you're going to need for your Slayer. So you ritual summon any Vendread ritual monster from the hand by tributing a hand or grave by tributing monsters you control, including the monsters special summoned by this effect, whose total levels equal or exceed. So it basically gives you the material back from the deck. This one sends from the deck to the grave, and then this one banishes. So you're getting pretty much everything you need to. And then the brand new Vendread-esque card, but isn't Vendread, which is really annoying, is the triple Dark Necromancer. So this came out in Supreme Darkness. On normal or special, you get to send a fiend or zombie ritual monster from the deck to the grave, and then you get to add a ritual spell from the deck to the hand. So this is how you're going to be able to very easily get access to the ritual spells. As you'll see, it's quite easy, within reason, to get the ritual monster to the grave. Then you need this to get the ritual monster, the ritual spell from the deck. So it kind of gives you the benefit of everything that you're looking for. And then on top of that as well is you get to add a ritual spell from the deck to the hand, and then if this card is banished, you get to target one of your banished level 4 or lower fiend or zombies and special summon it. So it lets you bring back the banished Vendread cards once you've used their effects to summon themselves back to the board. Then we are playing triple of the Rotting Phoenix. So this just opens up synchro plays a lot easier. It opens up rank 4 plays a lot easier. And on top of that as well, this allows it to return it to the hand to then special summon a zombie monster from the hand. So that's going to give you the ability, if you need to get the Vendreads from the hand to the board, and then you'll get the additional effects to your ritual monsters. The other brand new cards we are playing is 2 Curse of the Ancient Turtle. Let you banish a zombie monster from the hand or grave to then send a zombie from the deck to the grave. So it's just a lot easier to get access of the ritual monsters from the deck to the grave, which is what you're trying to do with this particular deck. When a zombie monster is destroyed by battle, you get to banish it from the graveyard, banish this card from the graveyard to special summon a zombie with 2,000 or less defense from your deck. You can only use the effect once per turn, and again, that's just going to get you more access to your Vendreads. And then the final brand new card that we are playing is Delta of Invitation. So I've got 2 of this and 1 Terraforming for a bit of a deck fin, but Terraforming can also be a zombie world if I don't get to Banshee. It really is up to you on this one. You can very easily play free Invitation if you want to. It's up to you. So when this card is activated, you send a level 5 or higher zombie from the deck to the grave. Again, sending your rituals from deck to the grave. And then you get to use the following effects. So, you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If a zombie monster is on the field, you get to special summon a Delta token, level 5 zombie. And then if a monster or monsters is added from the grave to the hand, while this is in the graveyard, you get to add it back to the hand. But you can only activate 1 per turn. So if you activate it, they destroy it, and you add it back, you can't activate it again, which is a bit annoying. But the idea is this just acts as a pseudo Foolish Burial. Speaking of which, Foolish Burial. And the idea I went with Terraforming is just a deck theme, but you can very easily play 3 of that if you want to. And then we do have a very small, I say small, but we do have a zombie engine, the generic kind of plays, which is basically your uni-zombie with all of the targets you want to send, being Bloom, Mauler, Banshee, Mizuki, Chenxing, Balderok, Jacko Bolan, and Al Ghul. Now, obviously, the higher levels are a little bit more effective for you because they are higher levels. They can be used as the ritual fodder for your ritual summons to make them a little bit easier. And stuff like the Doomkin Balderok and the Jacko Bolan are a lot easier to kind of loop back around. The Chenxing obviously has its uses, and so does the Al Ghul. But it's entirely up to you. If you want to play pure Vendread, then that's when you'd start subbing some of these out for some of your ritual monsters. I still feel you need to play Uni-Zombie just because it gives you that ability to get the ritual cards from the hand or the deck to the graveyard, and that's when you're going to get the most resource out of it. So it's definitely something you can consider if you want to, but the idea is these are still going to be incredibly powerful. And the best thing about it is when you are utilizing the brand new Delta of Invitation, you actually send your Balderok from deck to the grave, and then the Balderok can summon itself back, and then you can spawn a token, and then you straight away you've got a level 8 as ritual fodder, and you've got a level 5 as ritual fodder, which is why the Chimera can be a little bit more effective and a little bit more consistent for you, should you want to add it back in. So that's it for the entire main deck. Now to move on to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, pretty standard on this one. The only Vendread card that we have in the extra deck that is Vendread by name is the Avendread Savior. You've then got your standard vampire cards in the form of Sucker, Fascinator, Yugioh, and then the Flying Mary. And then for the XYZs, I've gone with Pilgrim Reaper, which is basically a rank 6 that lets you both players mill the top 5 cards of their deck. And it's a little bit easier because obviously Slayer is a level 6, and then you do have Scar, which is a level 6. But remember, if you bring Scar back via its own effect, you're locked into Vendread, so you need to tribute it off first. But the idea is you can get into rank 6 options, which is why you can utilize Pilgrim, Lars, and Wallow. So Wallow has the ability to return a card in the graveyard back to the deck. So if your opponent is trying to Bestial a Malice, you can bounce it back to the deck, and then that means they're going to lose that advantage. You also have the ability to detach 2 to special summon it to face up defense to your field. So again, the benefit of something like that is if you've got Zombie World, you're adding zombies to your board, and then you work your way into Fascinator, and then Fascinator just steals again, which is why the mill 6 of a Pilgrim Reaper can be quite helpful. The other XYZs we've got is the Abyss Dweller, Daguerres, and Baguska. So these are all going to be a little bit easier off of the back of the Burning Phoenix. And the idea behind that is Daguerres for the draw and discard, or the revive should you need to. Baguska if you get shifted or just hand trapped to death. And then Dweller is just like the format specific rank 4 right now, because there's a lot of decks like Kristrons and the Mitsururis that want to be summoning back from the grave or utilizing graveyard effects. And then for the Synchros, we've got the 1 Immortal Dragon, the 1 Omega, the 1 Felgrand, and the 1 Lord. Now the Dragon Lord's a little bit easier to make in this particular deck because it requires a zombie tuner and then non-tuners, and it is a level 10. So that's going to give you the ability to utilize your Slayer as a level 6 and then your Phoenix as a level 4 to get you directly into this, which is quite cool. And then of course you do have the ability for a 4 and 4 to get you into this or this, and then of course a 4 or a manipulated level of a Uni-Zombie plus one of your lower level Vendreads to get you into this as well. And that just gives you a level, that just gives you a tuner on the board. You could, if you really, really wanted to, consider the Gen X, the level 10 Synchro Gen X that just requires a Dart Tuner, because then you can either utilize the Immortal Dragon or you can utilize the Phoenix. And the reason you would do that is that then gives you the ability to negate Darks or Earths, and sometimes fires, depending on what you're putting to the graveyard. The only thing you're really missing is lights, and that's something you might want to consider if you are going to it, because then that gives you your nib protection. But the idea is this is, like I said, a very casual deck. It'd be something that I would say you would run at a themed style deck, or if your local environment did like a Halloween special where they play zombies, fiends, or something a little bit, dark and gruesome, then you'd probably be going for something like a Vendread option. But that is pretty much it for the entire profile. I hope this has given you an idea on your own build. Like I said, it's very casual. I love the theme behind it. I think the theme is probably one of the best TCG exclusive themes we've had, especially when you're considering we had Cosmo, which was Star Wars and Wizard of Oz. We had Dante's Inferno being Burning Abyss. We had James Bond being Spirals. We had Doctor Who, which was Time Thieves. So it's just like loads of different options, and I love the fact that they mixed Resident Evil with Spawn, because they're like two really kind of cool darker characters and darker kind of game franchises, which I personally really do enjoy. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions at all, by all means, put them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them as always. But for now, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.